If you're like me and overanalyze every single little health symptom, this ring is either going to be your best friend or your worst enemy. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Coralie and today I'm going to be doing an Oura ring review for you guys, but I'm going to be doing it from the perspective of someone that has pretty bad health anxiety. Okay, so if you're anything like me and find yourself Googling things like, what is a normal HRV range for a 29-year-old woman twice a week? Hi, welcome, you're in the right place. So despite my health anxiety, I am quite the sucker for some stats, specifically fitness stats. I love tracking my steps, tracking my movement, tracking my heart rate. That does stress me out sometimes. We will get to that. Tracking my sleep, basically everything that the Oura ring has to offer. I love the data behind it. However, I am a very anxious girly, specifically when it comes to my health. I can talk myself into thinking that I'm dying, that I have a serious health condition, probably at least weekly. Like I have pretty bad health anxiety when it comes to my heart. If my heart is beating too fast, if I'm having heart palpitations, if I'm having a little bit of chest pain, I go straight to the fact that I'm probably having a heart attack. Despite having had these symptoms the majority of my life and having yet to have had a heart attack, health anxiety really sucks. And having all these stats at your fingertips can be a blessing and a curse all in one. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I loved, what I didn't love, what helped me, and what sent me into a heart rate, panic attack, health anxiety spiral. Okay, so first of all, this is the ring. My Oura ring specifically is a size 8 in silver. Now you can get the Oura ring in a few different colors. I am generally a gold jewelry type of girl, and to be honest, I would have preferred to have had the gold Oura ring, but at the same time, I'm not gonna spend $100 extra just to get the ring in gold when it does the exact same thing in silver. The ring is already, it's not the most expensive fitness tracker, fitness wearable, but it also does have a monthly subscription fee to use the app, which is kind of annoying. So I didn't want to spend an extra $100 just to get a gold ring because the silver looks good. I would prefer gold, but the silver is still pretty. I also love the fact that it's just a ring that sits on your finger. It is not obviously a health tracker. Something such as the Apple Watch is very big and bulky, whereas a ring is really dainty and not so obvious. If you're going out somewhere nice, this big bulky Apple Watch probably isn't gonna look the best, but a cute little ring on your finger isn't so bad. Now, in terms of charging this ring, I will mention this quickly. I do tiny little charge bursts every single day. So whenever I have a shower, I pop my ring on my charger for 20 minutes or however long it takes me to get into the bathroom, have a shower, get out, get changed, put the ring back on, etc. And that keeps it from never dying. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about sleep tracking, because sleep tracking doesn't stress me and my health out too much. I find it quite interesting. So I do love to check my app first thing in the morning. Like I love waking up and checking my sleep score. And I personally am a pretty good sleeper. My sleep score is almost always above 80, which is pretty good. Like I'm an 8-hour kind of sleep girly. So it is pretty easy for me to get a decent sleep score. But I will say the ring probably actually helps me feel less anxious when it comes to sleep, because a lot of the times if I have had a really bad night and I feel like I haven't slept at all and it's been absolutely awful, tossing and turning all night, and then I look at the app and the ring tells me that I actually slept for 3 or 4 hours or something like that, that is quite reassuring to know that I did actually get some sleep throughout the night, despite the fact that it might not have felt like I got any sleep at all. So in terms of sleep tracking from a health anxiety perspective, obviously this is going to be different for every single person, but I find it quite helpful and soothing in terms of seeing how much sleep I got. And then if you did get a really bad night's sleep, it's going to reflect that in your readiness score, and the app is going to encourage you to have a slow, easy day. But I also understand that your readiness score and your sleep score could cause a lot of anxiety for some people if this is a trigger for them. Okay, so next we get to heart rate monitoring, and heart rate is something that stresses me out quite a bit. Now, I have felt like I have always had quite a fast heart rate. I feel like my resting heart rate is pretty good, but whenever I do any form of movement, my heart rate gets really high really quickly. Like if I'm doing a cardio class at the gym, it is not uncommon for my heart rate to stay in the 180s, maybe even touch the 190s if I'm really pushing it. Like my heart rate is quite high. Now, I will say there are pros and cons when it comes to heart rate monitoring with health anxiety on the Oura ring, because recently, here is a fun little fact, I got a blood test and I found out that I was low in iron. And since being on iron tablets for around about a month now, I've also noticed and been told by the Oura app that my resting heart rate has gone down around 4 beats per minute, taking me from the low 60s to the high 50s. And seeing something like that is really good for my health anxiety, because it tells me that I'm getting fitter, I'm getting healthier, that the iron tablets are working, that there's more oxygen in my blood. But at the same time, it can be really bad. Another example is when I traveled home from Germany to Australia, I'd had a really intense, like 25-hour travel day. My body was incredibly stressed and anxious, and I couldn't fall asleep that night. And the one thing I was noticing was that it felt like my heart was racing. So the one thing I found myself doing was I was continuously checking the app and monitoring my heart rate. And the fact that I was lying in bed, not moving, not exercising, and my heart rate was hitting 100, well, that was stressing me out a crazy amount. So there are so many pros and cons, because sometimes you can feel like your heart is racing and you feel like it's going way too fast for, just sitting in a chair, and then you check your app and your heart rate is actually only 70. That can be reassuring, but it can also do the exact opposite when you're lying in bed and you check your heart rate and your heart rate is 90. What is going on? I'm going to have a panic attack because I'm about to have a heart attack. I'm not. That's my health anxiety talking. Pros and cons, baby. All I'm trying to say here is if you have an Oura ring, you also have the ability to be constantly checking your heart rate. And I know that this can be a spiral for some people, or it can be calming for some people. Now, I will mention one other thing with the Oura ring is it seems really good at getting your resting heart rate, but it is not very good at getting a high heart rate. So for example, when I am doing a cardio class in the gym, I still wear my Apple Watch because my Apple Watch tracks my heart rate, hitting that 180 spot, whereas the Oura ring can't track that very well. So it is excellent for resting heart rate. It is not so good for exercising heart rate. Now, another thing the Oura ring tracks besides heart rate is also heart rate variability. And I had no idea about this or what this was before I got the Oura ring. And this was another thing that kind of triggered me a little bit in terms of health anxiety, because I thought that my HRV was very low, and some days you will have an average of 50, maybe 60, which is pretty good. And then some mornings I will wake up and my heart rate variability would have been averaging in the 30s. And all of a sudden I'm starting to think, okay, something's going wrong. Is my heart not as healthy as it was a day ago? What's going on? Why is my heart rate variability so much lower than it was a couple days ago? But that is just all a normal part of life. Talking about it with a clear head, not in an anxious health spiral. It's called heart rate variability. It varies. If your heart rate variability is a lot lower one morning, chances are your body is stressed. Your body has not recovered properly from a workout. You haven't slept very well. You had a couple drinks the night before. There are so many reasons. But then again, at the same time, when I see that my heart rate variability trend is on an upward spiral, that is brilliant for my health anxiety because I can see that all my work in the gym is paying off and my body is becoming healthier and fitter and stronger, and my body is also becoming less stressed. Just a warning, if things about your heart trigger your health anxiety, be aware of it before purchasing the Oura ring, because all those stats are right at your fingertips. Another thing the Oura ring does is it tracks your temperature, and for anyone, this is interesting because if your temperature rises, it can let you know that you are on the verge of getting sick. To be honest, since I got the Oura ring, I haven't actually been properly sick yet, so it hasn't been able to detect sickness, but as a woman, it is really interesting because it helps predict your cycle, and you can see how your average body temperature changes throughout your cycle, when it dips, when it rises, when it dips again, when you're going to get your period, estimated on your temperature, and I find that really interesting. Another thing I really like about the Oura ring is the readiness and activity scores it gives you. It'll give you an activity score based on your recovery, how well you slept, how hard you worked the day before, etc. And to go along with that, it also gives you a baseline for how many calories you should aim to burn within the day. My base calories is 350, and if I have a really good sleep score, it can go up to 450. And when I wake up and see that my calorie expenditure is recommended to hit 450, there's a much higher chance that I am actually going to work harder throughout the day, and I might go for that gym session, I might go for an extra walk throughout the day, go for a run, etc. I find it really motivating to try and actually hit the calorie goals that recommends for you. So, you know, if I've had a normal average night's sleep, I worked really hard the day before, my calorie expenditure might be suggested at 350. Okay, cool, I can hit that pretty easily throughout my labor job, going for a walk, etc. If my goal is 450, I might have to take an extra trip to the gym, which is super motivating because I have to move more, and hitting those goals feels good. So if you need a little bit of extra push, a little bit of extra motivation to burn a few more calories throughout your day, the Oura ring is really good at that because it will also take into account how you slept. So it's not going to ask you to push super hard a day after you've had a really bad night's sleep. It's going to encourage rest. So let's talk about some pros of the Oura ring for the health anxious girlies out there. Now, first of all, it brings awareness to sleep patterns, which is really cool. It helps you notice trends and establish healthy routines. Like I said earlier when I was talking about the heart rate, I actually got a notification on my phone just the other day that within the last 30 days, my resting heart rate has been on a downward spiral, which is fantastic, and it is a sign of increased fitness and cardiovascular health. And seeing stuff like that pop up on my phone makes me so happy. But again, seeing it happen in the opposite direction could stress me out a little bit. For example, there is a feature within the app that gives you an estimated heart health range, and when it first came onto my phone, it told me that my heart was around 8 years younger than my age, which is amazing. And then one day I woke up and it said my heart health was 6 years younger than my age. Now, what has happened within, you know, a night, a couple nights to make my heart health decline by 2 years? As someone with health anxiety, that is enough to send me into a little bit of a spiral. I will happily tell you though that since going to the gym more frequently, my heart health is now 7 years younger than my age. So it is also exciting and motivating to help increase those figures. Like when my heart health was 6 years younger than my age, a couple weeks later it went to 6.5 years younger, and now it has jumped to 7 years. So again, I'm seeing a healthier trend, and it's like a game. You got to keep beating your scores. Another pro with the Oura ring for the health anxious girlies out there is it can validate when you feel off with data. So it can tell you that you've had a really bad night's sleep and that your heart rate variability is down and that your stress is up and that you need to take a chill pill and relax for a day or two and maybe skip the gym class that you had booked. Okay, so now let's talk about a few cons. Now, it can create some hyper focus on your vitals, which I find I can fall into that category. I can hyper focus on my heart rate variability, the heart age, all those stuff for me, heart related, can stress me out. And if the trend starts to go backwards, that can be a trigger for my health anxiety. When the trend is going forwards, that's amazing, I feel great. Life is full of up and downs. If you have a night drinking with friends, if you go on a vacation and don't go to the gym for a couple of weeks, chances are your data is going to backtrack. But when you physically see that data backtracking on your phone, it can freak you out. Over checking these stats can also lead to panic. So let's talk about some tips for my health anxious girlies out there that either already have or want to get the Oura ring. Use it to observe trends, not to diagnose. This little bad boy is cute as hell, but it is not a doctor. It is working on some veins and some pulses within one finger of your body. I feel like it's a really good way to motivate yourself to make some changes, to work harder in the gym, to improve your cardiovascular fitness, your VO2 max, all that sort of stuff, to become a healthier person, to make those stats look better. But observe the trends, don't diagnose. If you're unsure, talk to a doctor. Don't rely purely on the ring. You need to learn to listen to your body as well as the data, because if you wake up with a bit of a sniffle but your ring didn't detect the fact that maybe your body temperature is a little bit raised and it doesn't think you're feeling sick and it is telling you to hit 450 calories exercise today and you really don't feel up to it, you don't have to. Listen to your body over your ring. Your ring is just here to help guide you. So the final verdict is, was it worth it? Personally, I really love it. Yes, there are some things that can stress me out a little bit, but I'm working on it, and the pros highly outweigh the cons for me. And honestly, I would recommend it if you like tracking your data, if you're an active person, if you want to become more of an active person, if you want to work on your health, I would highly recommend the Oura ring. It is an incredibly helpful tool, but don't count on this one little ring on your finger to give you complete peace of mind. It can fuel anxiety if you're prone to overthinking, such as, why is my HRV suddenly lower? Why was my resting heart rate spiked overnight? Normally it sits around the 60s. Why am I suddenly in the 70s? What is wrong with me? Am I dying? So at the end of the day, yes, I would recommend the Oura ring, but know what triggers you. Like I've said many times, heart rate is a big trigger for me, so I need to look out for those things, whereas sleep might be a trigger for you. So maybe it's a matter of not checking your sleep score first thing in the morning. One thing I find really funny with the Oura ring app is it tracks your stress. It gives you a few different tiers, like whether you're relaxed, whether you're engaged, whether you're stressed, and it tracks how many hours you're in these zones for. And sometimes you get a big message pop up when you open the Oura app and it'll say, you've been more stressed than usual today. You've been stressed for 5 hours. And then all of a sudden I'm stressed about the fact that I've been more stressed than usual. Why have I been more stressed than usual? I didn't feel more stressed than usual, but my Oura ring is telling me I was stressed for 5 hours of a day. So now I'm even more stressed and I can't get... It's tough in my brain, but we're getting through it day by day. But thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting as a review from a girly with health anxiety. And if you are also a sufferer like me, let me know if you have any wearable trackers that you wear and how it can affect or help your health anxiety. I would love to know. But thank you for watching. I put out new videos every few days. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys.